A few weeks ago, Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots and a well-known Trump supporter, was charged with soliciting prostitution. Federal investigators are alleging that Kraft was receiving sexual services in a massage parlor that was part of a sex trafficking ring. Authorities say they caught Kraft on camera paying for oral sex on the morning of the AFC Championship game, and that it was actually his second visit in 24 hours. As the story continues to develop, we're learning more about Li Yang, the founder of the massage parlor Orchids of Asia, which was originally named the Tokyo Day Spa. We're also finding that she's been luring Chinese businessmen to her new investment consulting firm by advertising her connections to Donald Trump for profit. Now, Li Yang was or has been an immigrant in the United States for more than 2 decades. She's a 45-year-old entrepreneur who built a chain of massage parlors in South Florida. Although federal authorities have busted one of the so-called spas that she founded, the Miami Herald reports that Yang, who goes by Cindy, was not charged in the multi-agency anti-human trafficking operation last month that shut down 10 Asian day spas in Florida. Yang actually sold the massage parlor that Kraft visited to another businesswoman around 2013. But online reviews dating back before 2013 on questionable sites like rubmaps.com suggest the Tokyo Day Spa was selling sex even before it became Orchids of Asia. One 2013 Yelp review reads, quote, "Used to be known as Tokyo Day Spa and Massage, most of the same girls still work there." Online photos of the spa also suggest that nothing about it changed since it was sold. It still had the same furniture and the same employees. In a previous ad recruiting masseuses, Yang indicated that women older than 45 need not apply. Finally, the Miami Herald found that phone numbers associated with members of the Yang family are connected to various old online sex ads for, explicit services, obviously. But what's far more interesting than Yang's past is what she's currently up to. Yang wasn't politically active at all prior to the 2016 general election. At least there's no evidence of her political engagement. The Miami Herald found that she hadn't voted in at least a decade. But all of a sudden, she's hobnobbing with some of the biggest names in Republican politics.
She's been spotted with the who's who of the GOP, including the president's sons at Mar-a-Lago, Kellyanne Conway at the inauguration, and Sarah Palin. But it's this selfie Yang took with President Trump at a Super Bowl watch party that's raising eyebrows.
Oh yeah, definitely raising eyebrows. But what does this all mean? Yang clearly has some money, and we all know that a healthy cash flow can get you into all sorts of fundraising events for politicians. When it comes to the Trump administration, it appears that Yang had no problem shelling out an impressive amount of paper. Since 2017, Yang and her close relatives have contributed more than $42,000 to Trump Victory, a political action committee, and more than $16,000 to the president's campaign. If you're willing to be a big donor to corrupt politicians, you usually have some access to them. Just because she's pictured with Trump and his sons, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, doesn't necessarily incriminate Yang or the Trump administration. But the story doesn't end there. Yang opened an investment consulting firm in 2017 targeting Chinese businesses hoping to expand in US markets. The firm's website advertises her new political connections and promises her clients pictures with the president and other high-level members of his administration. Now, journalists at Mother Jones decided to do more digging into this, and what they found could potentially lead to more investigations and legal headaches for Donald Trump. The website for the investment consulting firm that Yang started shut down immediately after the Miami Herald published its story on Yang. But Mother Jones found that, quote, on a webpage displaying a photo of Mar-a-Lago, Yang's company says its activities for clients have included providing them, quote, the opportunity to interact with the president, the American Minister of Commerce, and other political figures. The company boasts it has arranged taking photos with the president and suggests it can set up White House and Capitol Hill dinners. Among Yang's Chinese executive clients was Wachu Tang, the owner of an electric car company. Tang told Yahoo Finance that he flew 17 hours from China in hopes of meeting with Trump at a New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago. Tang's goal was to use a Trump connection to build up his company's brand before eventually taking it public on the New York Stock Exchange. The funny thing is that Trump skipped that event because the government shutdown happened, but Tang still went to the party and rubbed shoulders with Trump's sons. Okay, look, to be honest, it's unclear whether there's anything illegal going on. So I don't want to incriminate the president or anyone involved, but all of this is suspicious. And I think it makes sense for authorities to look into whether Yang had anything to do with the illegal sex trafficking ring that shut down. It does seem as though it's possible that she was participating in illegal work activities herself. It would also make sense to determine whether or not Trump, his family, or his businesses are breaking any laws for their own personal profit based on the access Yang is selling. While bribery is legalized among US politicians, foreigners cannot contribute money to any politician's campaign. According to the Federal Election Commission's website, campaigns are prohibited from accepting contributions from certain types of organizations and individuals. These prohibited sources are foreign nations. Remember that the administration is supposed to be looking out for the American people rather than his own profit motive or the best interests of foreign nationals. I know it's hard to remember that given how many slimy politicians do just that, do just the opposite, which brings me to the broader issue at hand. Even if there was no illegal activity, just consider how grossly corrupt American politics has become. Wealthy business people like Yang, who might have contributed to a sex trafficking ring, get to spend a little money and go to these fancy events for direct access to the president. At the same time, the genuine and critical concerns of American citizens who aren't wealthy are brushed aside. And look, regardless of where you stand ideologically, I think the one thing that still unites us is how undemocratic and horrible we find this corruption to be. We need to get the money out and drain the swamp, something Trump claimed he'd do, but carried out just the opposite. You never have to miss another episode of No Filter by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT and download the TYT Plus app today. Download our TYT Plus app on your iPhone or head over to tyt.com/join.